on YouTubers, gamers and hobbyists. And what are we looking at here? A collection of books. Yes, but not just any old books, as we shall see in closer detail. So guys, what you're actually looking at here is a part of my childhood. Now this is pre-Games Workshop, okay? Before Games Workshop, we had Fighting Fantasy. Now I had these initially. This is the first 3 books from the ones I showed you, and there's oodles more now. But initially they came out as a set of 3. Now, going back into the early 80s, 1982 to be specific, there was a children's program called Free Time. I don't know if any of you remember it back in England. I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember that. It's along the lines of Magpie and that kind of thing. And if you don't remember that, you won't remember the other. But anyway, they used to review different things that would be maybe of interest to the younger children, not too young. And this is where I first saw this as a boy, reviewing The Warlock of Firetop Mountain. I thought, what's that? So this is exactly what it is, an original fantasy adventure in which you are the hero, complete with a combat system, monster encounters and score sheets. And this is the original. You can't get this cover art anymore, I don't believe. Originally, I had this as it was a massive magazine size booklet. I think it was it was A4 at least size. I had that as well. And anyway, in it, you got to roll up a character somewhere. Well, this tells you the rules and how to play. Basically, all you need is 2d6. There you go. You could either, as you can see, I never wrote on it. Many people I knew did. And even my school library had a couple of these books. You could photocopy it, but I just used to draw it out on a sheet of paper and off I go. Skill, stamina, luck. And to start with, it reads a bit like a story, the first bit, and then at the end of a passage, it gives you different options. Like if you want to do a certain thing, turn to reference number 272, or do something else, turn to 127, and you just flip to that number and then carry on. The story progresses that way, and occasionally you'd have to fight monsters or take luck tests and things like that, and at the end you either passed or failed the quest. Sometimes it had multiple endings. And this was written by Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone, so this is like, it's pre Games Workshop. Games Workshop did not exist when this came out, but I was well into this. And originally you could buy them as a set of 3. So I got this, the Warlock of Firetop Mountain. Then we came to the Citadel of Chaos, which was a lot harder. Because you could use magic in it. It was just, you had magic spells, and it was a harder game all round, this one, but very, very very engaging is the word I suppose I'm looking for. And again, original cover with a protector that you could get. That was written by Steve Jackson, purely on his lonesome. And the 3rd book in the series was The Forest of Doom, written by Ian Livingstone. Now this was probably the easiest of the 3. Same format, no magic I don't think in that one, just bog standard. But they were really engaging. And so that was the first 3. Of course, 3 became 5. 5 became 7. Then 7 became 9. But to 8 was another collaboration again. So I had the Warlock of Firetop Mountain. There's a collaboration. Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone. Citadel of Chaos with Steve Jackson. Forest of Doom was Ian Livingstone. Steve Jackson's Starship Traveller was inspired. I'll come back to that one. City of Thieves, Ian Livingstone. Death Trap Dungeon, Ian Livingstone. Island of the Lizard King, Ian Livingstone. What does that remind you of? Anything Warhammery? That Lizard Man? Lizard King. Scorpion Swamp, collaboration, Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone. 9 Ian Livingstone's Caverns of the Snow Witch, and that came out as a magazine also. Then, as you can see, I've got a couple of copies of House of Hell. A couple of different ones there. Talisman of Death. Steve Jackson wrote a lot of them, and there's a lot of collaborations. I suppose for a while, though, the majority of in the early days, the majority were written by Ian Livingstone, and it seemed for a time he was going to become more popular. City of Thieves, which was number 5, was kind of, although it was written by Ian Livingstone, Steve Jackson decided to do his own kind of take on that in the series of books he did. Sorcery, which were a lot harder than the fighting fantasy books. So the fighting fantasy they still bore the fighting fantasy emblem, okay, but sorcery epic, and they were harder because they all had magic and things, a lot more to do with them. There was a lot more to them than the smaller books. The Shaman Tanty Hills, that was the first one. Then Chaos, City Port of Traps, and that was similar to City of Thieves, okay. 7 Serpents, and then I believe I lent my 4th book, which I had to buy a set of new ones to make up for it, The Crown of Kings, so I had to re-buy that one with the others. And then they went on to do other ones, about how they do it and how they write them. Oh, that's something different. And Steve Jackson did another one on his own. So as you can see, a lot of fun. And I couldn't tell you how many books they go up to now, but they really are phenomenal for a youngster. I was still at school. I was in my teens. I suppose I was about, I don't know, let me work it out, hang on. I was about 12, 13 at the time. Anyway, said I was going to go back to, just bear with me a moment, Starship Traveller. Now this was unique to me, because it was science fiction. It was written in a science fiction universe, and because for me at the time it was the hardest game book out there. Look, you can see on the back, I don't know if you can see, it only went up to 5 at the time of this one was printed. So yeah, and in all the years I've had this book, I've only ever done it a few times. But anyway, that is kind of my introduction to the world of fighting fantasy. And Steve Jackson and Ian Livingstone, and Steve Jackson would later go on to form Games Workshop, of which I did have their role-playing game and wished I still had it, because I think it would be worth something now. But yeah, still got the books and I will always keep them. Anyway, until the next time, happy gaming everyone.